I can't just start talking about Injustice 2 without stressing out how big and packed with content this game is. I have enjoyed the time spent with it. This is probably the most rewarding fighting game I've ever played, and one of the best of the last few years for sure. Almost everything here is better than what we have seen in the first Injustice, and even though we haven't reached perfection yet, Injustice 2 is still amazing. As usual, if you like this review, you might wanna hit that subscribe button and help the channel grow. Or not, whatever. Injustice 2 has a fun and quite long story mode, a solid multiplayer, daily events, many superheroes we can fight as, and an astonishing amount of collectibles, gears and so on. I would say this game feels like an RPG, with armor pieces and gear to obtain, statistics and values to increase, and experience points to level up with. The story mode is just as we would expect from NetherRealm at this point. It is fun, it has a great direction, and it entertains. The plot is okay. I mean, this is still a fighting game, you should not expect the kind of story you would find in an RPG. There are way too many characters, some of them feel forced into the story. Sometimes you will have issues trying to follow what is going on, there are a few holes in the screenplay. This is far from perfect, the first Injustice was just plain better. Still, even though they could have done something more, the story is actually good, just know that you won't be amazed. In order to complete the story mode you will have to spend about 12 hours. That is a big number in the fighting games world, especially nowadays when most of the games seem to prefer to focus on multiplayer sacrificing their own stories. NetherRealm is different though, they clearly spent a lot in the story mode as the cutscenes look amazing. They are hands down the best I've ever seen in a fighting game. If you want to proceed step by step, you should start with a tutorial, easy but deep enough to teach you all the basic mechanics. Of course there is no time here for the most complex chains or to delve within the movesets of every character. After all, we have about 30 different fighters here, and every single one is different from the other. In order to learn how to play with each one, you will have to spend several hours in any of the modes available. Maybe just don't jump into the multiplayer hell if you're not very experienced. Regardless of what mode you choose, you will immediately notice that Injustice 2 is way faster than the previous game. This makes it more rewarding when we succeed in connecting one combo after another, picking that perfect timing that requires a lot of training. Every fighter gains experience points after each match. You can also gain levels, unlock slots for abilities, and obtain new gear. Loots have an important role in Injustice 2. Besides looking cool, every piece of equip has an impact on gameplay as well. Each character is based on particular statistics that can be increased or lowered by equipping specific armors. Some legendary loot can also add more skills or change the effects of particular moves. There's a lot of stuff to be happy about here. Injustice 2 is big. If you love fighting games, you will spend dozens of hours here. In order to avoid unfair situations, the fighters' levels and the special bonuses from their gear will have no effect during ranked online matches. Every character here is taken back to their original version. There is a good balance and everything looked smooth during my online struggles. Even though Injustice 2 is still using Unreal Engine 3, the game looks good. Cutscenes and animations are top-notch, but I didn't like the lighting effects that much. We are far from what Unreal Engine 4 could do. The game runs at 60 frames per second anyway, so I wouldn't complain much. Injustice 2 is better than its predecessor in almost every possible way. First of all, it's faster, and this makes its gameplay more rewarding. The work done on the loot is just great, and the character's progression is deep and solid. This game feels multi-layered, fun and big. The daily challenges, the huge amount of variables, the solid online, and the way the developers polish the whole gameplay make this game a must-buy for whoever likes this genre.